Welcome to Mystery Puzzle Solvers. Tonight, we transport you to the grandeur and elegance of Harrington Manor, a sprawling estate steeped in history and secrets. The air is filled with anticipation and intrigue as the manor hosts a lavish masquerade ball, with guests adorned in elaborate costumes and masks, each hiding their own mysteries. Our story begins in the heart of this opulent setting, where laughter and music echo through the halls. But beneath the surface, tension simmers. Meet our suspects, Mr. James, the butler, whose impeccable service hides a shadowy past; Ms. Olivia, the socialite, whose charm and beauty mask a web of deceit; Dr. Harris, the enigmatic physician, whose calm demeanor conceals a turbulent mind; and Mr. Turner, the reclusive artist, whose creativity is matched only by his secrets. Each of them carries a piece of the puzzle, and each of them has a motive. As the night unfolds, the guests revel in the festivities, unaware of the dark events about to transpire. Pay close attention to every detail, every gesture, and every word, for within these walls lies a mystery waiting to be unraveled. Can you piece together the clues and solve the mystery before the night is over? Join us as we delve into the midnight murder at Harrington Manor. As the clock struck midnight, a haunting silence fell over Harrington Manor, the kind that sends shivers down your spine. The festivities came to an abrupt halt as the grand clock in the hallway tolled 12 times, each chime echoing ominously through the manor's ancient walls. Guests exchanged puzzled glances, their masked faces reflecting a mix of confusion and unease. Suddenly, the silence was shattered by a blood-curdling scream, piercing through the air like a knife. Panic rippled through the ballroom as guests froze in their tracks, their hearts pounding with fear and anticipation. Everyone's attention turned toward the source of the scream. Whispers of dread and curiosity filled the room as the guests cautiously made their way to the library, their footsteps echoing on the polished wooden floors. The heavy doors creaked open to reveal a scene of horror. Mr. Harrington, the esteemed host, lay lifeless on the floor, his body sprawled in a pool of blood. Gasps of shock and disbelief filled the room as the guests crowded around, each one trying to make sense of the grisly sight before them. The once festive atmosphere now charged with tension and fear. The guests began to realize that they were part of something far more sinister than they had ever imagined. Who among them could have committed such a heinous act? Was the killer still lurking in the shadows, blending in with the innocent faces around them? The clock had struck midnight, and now, the mystery of Mr. Harrington's murder awaited to be solved. Can you piece together the clues and uncover the truth before the night is over? Share your theories in the comments and join us in solving this chilling mystery. As the guests stood in stunned silence, the detective on the scene began to search for any clues that might shed light on the gruesome event. His keen eyes scanned the room, and there, tucked beneath Mr. Harrington's lifeless hand, he discovered a crumpled piece of parchment. Carefully unfolding it, he revealed a mysterious note covered in an intricate cipher, a mix of letters and numbers that seemed to guard a hidden message. The guests crowded closer, curiosity mingling with their fear. The detective held up the note for all to see, the cryptic text catching the flickering light of the chandelier. The room fell silent as everyone tried to make sense of the seemingly random characters. What secrets did this note hold? Was it a message from the killer, or perhaps a clue left by Mr. Harrington himself in his final moments? The air was thick with tension as the detective explained that this cipher was no ordinary puzzle. It required sharp wit and a keen eye to decode. He invited the guests, and you, our viewers, to put your puzzle-solving skills to the test. Can you break the code and reveal the hidden message? This cipher could be the key to uncovering the motive behind the murder and identifying the culprit lurking among the guests. Take a closer look at the note and share your decoded messages in the comments below. Every detail matters, and your insights could be crucial in solving this perplexing mystery. As you ponder the cipher, remember that in the world of mystery solving, every clue brings us one step closer to the truth. Will you be the one to crack the code and help unravel the secrets of Harrington Manor? The game is afoot, and the answers lie within your grasp. As the guests and the detective continued their investigation in the library, Their attention was drawn to an ornate grandfather clock standing against the wall. This was no ordinary timepiece. Its intricate woodwork and antique design suggested it had been a fixture in Harrington Manor for generations. The detective approached the clock, his eyes narrowing as he noticed something peculiar. The clock's hands were frozen, stopped precisely at 12:15. This anomaly struck the detective as odd, given that the clock had been chiming just moments before. What could have caused it to stop? The detective examined the clock more closely, his gloved fingers tracing over the glass face. There, faint but discernible, were smudged fingerprints and a small ink stain on the side of the clock. These marks seemed out of place on such a meticulously maintained object. He called the guest's attention to the clock and began to piece together a timeline. The stopped clock suggested a significant event had occurred at precisely 12:15. Could this have been the exact moment Mr. Harrington met his untimely end? The detective's mind raced with possibilities. Perhaps the killer had tampered with the clock to leave a cryptic clue, or maybe Mr. Harrington himself had stopped it in his final moments to signal his time of death. The guests whispered among themselves, each theorizing what this clue might mean. The detective urged them, and you, our viewers, to consider the implications. Why would the clock stop at 12:15? Was it mere coincidence, or a deliberate act by the murderer? And whose fingerprints had left their mark on the glass? Think carefully about the significance of this frozen moment in time. Could it point to one of the suspects, each with their own motives and alibis? Or is it a distraction meant to throw the investigation off course? Share your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Every piece of the puzzle is crucial, and your insights could be the key to unraveling the mystery of Harrington Manor. As you reflect on this clue, remember that in the intricate world of mystery solving, time is often both a friend and an enemy. The answers lie not just in the evidence, but in the connections we draw between them. Can you decipher the secrets hidden in the stopped clock and help us move one step closer to solving this chilling crime? As the investigation continued, the detective's keen eye caught sight of another crucial clue. Nestled discreetly behind a grand armchair in the corner of the library was a piece of fabric, dark blue and shimmering under the flickering candlelight. He carefully picked it up with a pair of tweezers, revealing a torn fragment of satin. This wasn't just any fabric. It was adorned with intricate hand-stitched embroidery, the kind that bespoke wealth and attention to detail. The unique pattern of the embroidery was unmistakable, suggesting it came from a high-quality garment, possibly belonging to one of the distinguished guests at the manor. Upon closer inspection, the detective noticed something even more intriguing. The fabric bore an odd stain, a small but noticeable mark that seemed out of place on such a refined material. He dabbed the stain with a chemical reagent from his forensic kit, watching as it changed color. This was no ordinary spill. It was a rare chemical compound, something that only someone with specific knowledge or access would recognize. The detective's mind raced with possibilities, thinking of who among the guests could have come into contact with such a substance. As the detective held the fabric up to the light, tiny particles embedded in the weave sparkled faintly. He placed the fabric under a magnifying glass, revealing microscopic traces of what appeared to be soil or dust. This was no ordinary dirt. It was fine and granular, the kind one might find in a specific location within the manor grounds. The guests gathered around, their faces a mix of intrigue and apprehension. The detective explained that this small piece of fabric could be the key to identifying the murderer. Which of the guests wore a garment made of such exquisite material? Who had access to the rare chemical that stained the fabric? And where within the grounds could this specific type of soil be found? These were the questions that needed answering. The detective urged everyone, and you, our viewers, to consider these details carefully. Could it be Ms. Olivia, the socialite known for her fashionable attire? Or perhaps Dr. Harris, the physician with access to various chemicals? Or even Mr. Turner, the artist, whose work often involved unique materials and locations? Take a closer look at the clues and share your theories in the comments below. Every detail matters, and your insights could help unravel the identity of the killer lurking within the manor's walls. In the world of mystery solving, it's often the smallest details that hold the biggest secrets. Can you piece together the story behind the fabric and bring us one step closer to solving the midnight murder at Harrington Manor? As the investigation deepened, the detective's relentless search led him to a part of Harrington Manor that had long been forgotten, a hidden room concealed behind a bookshelf in the library. With a creak and a click, the bookshelf swung open, revealing a dimly lit chamber filled with dust-covered books and ancient artifacts. The air was thick with the scent of old parchment and secrets long kept. The detective's flashlight cut through the darkness, illuminating shelves lined with volumes that had not seen the light of day for decades. In the center of the room, on a heavy wooden desk, lay an open journal. The pages were yellowed with age, but the handwriting was still clear and precise. The detective's eyes scanned the latest entry, dated the very night of the murder. It read, "Journal entry, March 3rd. Mr. Harrington's secret dealings are getting risky. I've seen too much and fear for my safety. Confronting him tonight might be my only chance to end this." The words were chilling, suggesting that the writer had known of Mr. Harrington's dangerous liaisons and had planned to confront him. But who was the author of this journal? And what were these secret dealings? Next to the journal lay an anonymous letter, its edges frayed and its contents ominous. "You will pay for your past sins. The truth will be revealed," it threatened, in a handwriting distinctly different from the journal's. This letter hinted at a deep-seated grudge, a motive that could drive someone to murder. The detective held up the letter, considering who in the manor had such a vendetta against Mr. Harrington. The final clue in this hidden room was a coded map, its cryptic symbols and coordinates suggesting a location within the manor grounds. 43N79W. Follow the shadow at noon, it read. A puzzle within a puzzle. This map seemed to be a key to uncovering more about Mr. Harrington's secret activities, or perhaps even to finding the next clue in the investigation. The detective urged the guests, and you, our viewers, to think about these discoveries. Who could have written the journal entry, and why were they in such grave danger? Who sent the threatening letter, and what sins were they referring to? And where did the coded map lead? Reflect on these questions and share your thoughts in the comments below. Each clue brings us closer to unveiling the truth hidden within Harrington Manor. In the world of mystery solving, it's often the hidden rooms and secret documents that hold the answers. Can you piece together the significance of the journal, the letter, and the map to help solve the midnight murder at Harrington Manor? As the detective meticulously combed through the library, his attention was drawn to an inconspicuous corner near the fireplace. There, partially hidden under a luxurious rug, lay a pair of finely crafted leather gloves. These weren't ordinary gloves. They were made of the finest leather, supple and well-worn, indicating that they belonged to someone of considerable wealth and status. The detective carefully picked them up, immediately noticing that one glove was missing a button, a detail that could prove crucial. Holding the gloves under the magnifying glass, the detective observed faint traces of a peculiar chemical stain on the missing button's thread. He dabbed a small sample with his reagent kit, watching as the substance reacted with a distinctive color change. This was no ordinary substance. It was a rare chemical, possibly used in specific professions or hobbies. His mind raced through the list of suspects, considering who might have access to such a chemical. The guests gathered around, their curiosity piqued by the detective's discovery. The detective explained that the gloves likely belonged to someone who had handled the rare chemical recently. He looked at Ms. Olivia, known for her sophisticated taste in fashion, Dr. Harris, whose medical practice might involve such chemicals, and Mr. Turner, who could have used it in his artwork. Each suspect had their own potential connection to the gloves, but only one could have left them behind in such haste. The missing button added another layer of intrigue. Could it have been torn off during a struggle? Was it a sign of panic, indicating that the wearer had been caught off guard and had to flee quickly? The detective examined the other glove, noting its pristine condition. which contrasted starkly with the damaged one. This discrepancy suggested a moment of intense action, possibly during the murder or its immediate aftermath. As the detective presented the gloves to the guests, he urged them, and you, our viewers, to consider the implications. Who among the suspects had the motive, opportunity, and means to handle such a rare chemical and possess such fine gloves? The detective encouraged everyone to think about the connections, the relationships, and the hidden tensions that could explain the presence of these gloves at the scene of the crime. Reflect on the evidence and share your theories in the comments below. The gloves are more than just an accessory. They are a vital piece of the puzzle. In the intricate dance of clues and mysteries, even the smallest detail can be a decisive factor. Can you unravel the significance of the gloves and help us edge closer to solving the midnight murder at Harrington Manor? As the investigation reached its climax, the detective gathered all the guests in the grand hall, where the ominous air of suspense had now thickened to an almost palpable tension. The flickering candlelight cast long shadows, creating an atmosphere ripe with anticipation and unease. The detective stood before the gathered assembly, ready to recap the series of perplexing clues that had been uncovered throughout the night. First, there was the mysterious cipher found near Mr. Harrington's body. A code that many had tried to decipher. It held the promise of revealing hidden messages, possibly pointing to the motives and the culprit. Who among the guests had the skills and the reason to leave such an enigmatic note? Then, there was the grandfather clock, stopped precisely at 12:15. The smudged fingerprints and the ink stains suggested someone had tampered with it. The significance of the time and the fingerprints led us to question everyone's whereabouts and actions at that crucial moment. What events transpired at 12:15 that sealed Mr. Harrington's fate? Next, we discovered the exquisite piece of dark blue satin fabric, uniquely embroidered and stained with a rare chemical. This fabric, torn from a garment, hinted at a struggle and pointed to someone with access to specialized substances. Which of our suspects wore this fabric and had the knowledge or means to use such chemicals? In the hidden room, we found the journal detailing Mr. Harrington's secret dealings, the ominous anonymous letter, and the coded map. These artifacts told a story of betrayal, danger, and hidden agendas. Who was the author of the journal? Who sent the threatening letter? And where did the coded map lead us in our search for the truth? Finally, the detective held up the pair of gloves, one missing a button and stained with the same rare chemical found on the fabric. These gloves spoke of a hurried departure, possibly during the murder. Whose gloves were they, and why were they discarded in such haste? The detective then reminded everyone of Mr. James, the butler. Known for his meticulous nature and loyalty to the manor, his close proximity to Mr. Harrington placed him under suspicion. Did his knowledge of the manor's secrets give him the opportunity to commit the crime? Or was his presence at the scene merely a coincidence? As the detective laid out all the clues, he turned to the guests, and to you, our viewers. Each piece of evidence pointed in different directions, yet together they formed a complex web of deceit, motives, and hidden truths. The time had come to piece together these clues and identify the murderer among them. The detective asked everyone to ponder all the evidence, the behaviors, and the hidden connections that had been revealed. Who do you think committed the crime? Was it Ms. Olivia with her charm and hidden grudges? Dr. Harris with his access to chemicals and a potential motive for revenge? Mr. Turner, whose artistic endeavors might conceal darker intentions? Or Mr. James, the butler, whose loyalty and knowledge of the manor might hide a darker side? Share your final guesses in the comments below. The killer's identity will be unveiled once this episode reaches 10,000 views. Your engagement and insights are crucial in solving this mystery. Stay tuned, share your theories, and don't forget to subscribe and follow us for the grand reveal. The midnight murder at Harrington Manor holds many secrets, and only together can we uncover the truth.